Hello, everyone. But as I watch it, I think that has a good body weight and all these other good things. I can still see some oscillations in it. Very, very subtle ones, just little jiggles back and forth as it walks. I can also tell right away that those shins or whatever the lower leg parts are structural after L complained about the competition doing a frame by frame analysis. He's going to take the covers off. I know there are a lot of things we couldn't tell before with the covers on. They look smaller. Well, basically, after the Chancellery verdict today, I was wondering what Elon was doing tonight. We know he's in the Optimus lab looking at everything and not letting it distract him. This is Optimus. Optimus is Tesla's amazing humanoid robot. In this video, we'll take a close look at Optimus, from its amazing walk and intricate design to its possible charging methods, and some interesting insights into how motion capture is changing its development. But before we start, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to join our growing Tesla stock news community. We have all the latest Tesla updates, stock insights, and innovative tech discussions waiting for you, so buckle up because Tesla is bringing you the future of robotics. But first, let's explore the fascinating world of Optimus to really understand why it's making waves in the tech industry. Elon shocked us all by bringing Optimus, the walking robot, to what I think is the Palo Alto factory. I can't say for sure, but it makes sense that it would be there. The interesting part is that we actually got to see Optimus walk. It looks incredibly real and has good body weight distribution, but there are some small movements in its walk. Remember that Fourth has a yellow tag on its side and a hanging tether on its back that is usually connected to the bot, but they took it off for the walking demonstration. We can also see that the lower leg parts are structural since the skin has been removed, which clears up any questions about what they're for. Looking at the walk more closely, we can see that there is a noticeable toe off and a slight bend in the legs, so the person is not completely straight-legged. This is similar to what we saw in the December video. It was worth Elon Musk's time to look at each frame individually. Now that the covers are off, we can see the inner workings a lot better. The leg motors, especially the hip ones, look smaller and more streamlined than they did before. Compared to some other robots on the market, Optimus looks very skeletal, like a stick figure. The shoulder that was hidden before now shows its eye patrol mechanism, which is made up of 3 connected joints. The cable routing also looks well organized, and while it's hard to tell the exact angle, there seems to be a slight tilt from horizontal. We can clearly see the fans that are cooling the battery. They're probably cooling a liquid rather than air, which might be more important during charging than normal operation. When thinking about the energy dynamics of the battery pack, it's important to remember that the robot's heat generation affects not only certain areas, but its whole body. For high-speed charging to work, effective active cooling becomes necessary, but it's hard to tell if there are fans on the other side. The notable heat emission zones seem to be concentrated around the underarm and armpit areas, similar to a human sweating. This means that the bot may experience higher temperatures during operation. Revelation lies in how Optimus is tethered. Optimus used to be tethered through the top of the head, but this way seems to have been thrown out. One possible reason for this change is that the neck area doesn't have to carry the weight of the whole body, even though it has a lot of heavy parts like batteries, CPUs, GPS, and SSD chips. The Optimus has an amazingly simple design. This design is different from others because it doesn't have a big backpack-like structure, but it does have one strange part on the back that makes you wonder what it's for. It's possible that this block is some kind of charging converter, but we don't know how Optimus charges exactly. It's possible that Optimus runs on a DC system, which means it doesn't need any internal AC converters. Instead, it might use external parts, similar to how chargers are used for phones, e-bikes, and computers. This method simplifies the design and makes it easier to carry around when it comes to charging. Optimus might not be able to work with a 250 kW supercharger because of the limitations of its battery pack, which Jordan says is between 7 and 8 kW at most. This would translate to about 110 V and 32 amps, which is similar to a level 2 charger. Charging speed may change depending on things like cooling and the charge curve. It's also worth noting that the battery chemistry seems to be MIC, which offers a better balance between usage and charge speed. Limiting access to the top 10% can greatly extend its lifespan. This method might work better for humanoid robots and for cars, where an extra 10% of range is more important. Also, having charging stations nearby lets the batteries drain more quickly than in cars, which might have to travel farther to reach a charging point. If we look more closely at Optimus' wrist, we can see that it has two joints with some slop that lets it move in many ways. These joints look like spherical joints and can rotate and move in different ways, like a human hand. The shape has changed a lot, and now the wrist is smaller and narrower. Optimus also has more streamlined parts in the hip and pelvic area, and the motors are noticeably smaller. This streamlined design makes the robot look better and work better. The hip joint's center of spin seems a little lower than a human's. This is because humanoid walking needs a different axis of motion. This design change might shorten the bot's stride and slow it down at its fastest speed, but it fits with its intended use in factories where a fast walking speed of about 5 miles per hour is not necessary. As we look at the elbow mechanism, we can't say for sure if it has changed significantly without seeing better pictures, but it looks mostly the same as the previous design. There is an interesting heat sink in the front of Optimus, which suggests that it has a lot of computing power. The fans are also easy to see, which suggests that it has a cooling system that likely circulates cooling liquid around the batteries, CPU, GPU, and FSD components. Now let's take a closer look at that complicated mechanism inside Optimus. It's a little hard to see how it all works because we're looking at it from a limited angle. The previous version had a big black part that stuck and you have a chance to compare pictures and maybe get access to better ones. Moving the axis of rotation further back does make some things clearer. We're not able to download the film right now, so we can do a more in-depth analysis, but we'll do our best with what we have before moving on to Optimus's hip area. It's clear that the parts are smaller and lighter than they were in the last version, but some cables are now visible because there are no covers on them. It is important to note that these wires are neatly enclosed by cable raceways, which aren't always the case with robots that look like a mess of wires. Optimus looks sleek and efficient even without its skin on. The team seems to have put a lot of thought into keeping the design clean and efficient. Now let's talk about the interesting topic of leg movement. It's clear that Optimus' knees never lock out completely. They keep a slight bend throughout the walking cycle. This is a classic challenge in robotics, being able to mimic a human's natural gait, though there is room for improvement. Optimus's hip and torso move very well, mimicking the small weight shifts and rotations of a human walker. When we look at the arm mechanisms, we see that the elbow joints are mostly the same as they were in earlier versions. One of the most impressive improvements made by Optimus is that the wrist device has become more streamlined and small. Tesla fans and people who are always on the lookout for the next big thing in the stock market can't just watch from afar. Seeking Alpha has everything you need to know about Tesla. Tesla's stock price goals, Tesla's new ideas, and everything Elon Musk. If you want to find online news sites about Tesla, skip the garbage that the mainstream media says about the company and get right to the facts. To get a deal, click on the link in the description. Now let's look at the balance of the torso again. It looks like the bot's weight has moved to its left side, and it's rotating as it walks, which is a sign of proper locomotion. For those who don't know, this is important for a physical object like Optimus to stay stable and not fall. Every step you take while walking is an exact move meant to keep you from falling flat on your face. It's a delicate dance of balancing and get better. The video seems to have been taken around 6:30 p.m. in Palo Alto, leaving us to wonder if it's late for work or the start of the evening shift. It's also interesting that there aren't any known faces from the team, which makes us think it might be a different crew. Elon often shares more information on his posts later tonight, so keep an eye out for them. Elon said he would post video updates from time to time, and it looks like he's keeping his word with this quick release. Weekly changes might start happening all the time. The motion capture mode setup is a big discovery. Those strange dots you saw are motion capture markers, which are usually used to record human movements. But here's where it gets interesting. They can use this to map both humans and Optimus.